Assemble a grid of zany cartoon cards via deck building in Fliptoons.
And today we'll be teaching you how to play Fliptoons, game designed by Jordi Aiden and Renato Simões and published by Thunderworks Games.
And hi everyone, it's Stella.
And Tarrant, welcome to Meeple University.
And hey, if you enjoyed this video after watching, like, subscribe and comments. You know what to do. Alright, now let's get to the classroom.
In Fliptoons, players compete to assemble the most famous collection of rubber hose cartoon animals they can. Round by round, players will flip their decks of toons into a grid, calculate the fame they generate, and spend that fame to bring in new and more powerful toons, and perhaps dismiss the old ones. The game end is triggered once someone reaches 30 or more fame, before the fame scores from one final showdown flip determines the winner. To set up, find all the toon cards with this back and separate them into two stacks. The starters, which are the grey ones with 0 rank, and all of the rest. From the starters, give each player a complete set of 6, 2 caterpillars, a bee, a snail, a dragonfly, and a skunk, returning any unused ones to the box. Players shuffle these into a face-down deck and also take a player aid and fame scoring card. Shuffle all of the other toons into a face-down deck and place them near the 5 price cards arranged in ascending order from 3 to 15. Deal out the top 5 cards from the toon deck and arrange them in order from lowest rank at the lowest price to highest rank at the highest price. You will always order this market in this way throughout the game, meaning the lowest ranked card in the market will always be associated with the lowest price, and so on. Set the Critic's Choice card aside for now, choose a first player, and you're now ready to play. Fliptoons is played in rounds, and each round is played in 4 phases: flip, check fame, market, and cleanup. Flip, check fame, and cleanup are resolved simultaneously, while the market phase resolves in turns, beginning from the first player and going clockwise around the table. Most of the game's complexity is introduced as players add high-ranking cards to their decks, but that won't occur until you're at least a couple of rounds into the game. So I'll begin by taking you through how this sequence works in the much simpler first round, before coming back to explain again how it works once more cards are in the game. The first phase is flip. Simultaneously, players draw cards one at a time from the top of their deck, making out a 3x2 grid. In the first round, all 6 of your cards will be out. The second step is that all players check their fame. Fame is the number in the yellow circle, and you'll add up all of the raw fame points, plus any fame from abilities on the cards. Then mark it with the arrow on your fame tracker. Here, my raw fame points are 3, and the dragonfly's ability gives me +1 fame for each unique card adjacent to the dragonfly. Here it's skunk, snail, and caterpillar, 3 unique cards, so a total fame of 6. Once all players have determined their fames, move on to the market phase. Each player takes 1 turn in turn order from the first player clockwise, and on your turn you may take up to 2 actions. These actions are hire a toon or dismiss a toon. To hire a toon, choose one of the 5 face-up toons from the market. Take the card, check the cost on the card, pay that amount of fame, and add the new card to your deck. Don't refill or replenish the market for now. If you're going to hire 2 toons with your 2 actions, you'll need to pay the fame based on their positions in the market at the start of your turn. If you hire a card with a when hired ability, resolve it now. To dismiss a toon, pay the standard dismissal cost, which is 5 fame, and then choose 1 face-up toon from your 3x2 grid and remove it, setting it somewhere over to the side. face up and visible, but clearly not a part of your deck or grid. You cannot take this action if it will reduce your combined grid and deck size below 4 cards. Do note that your 2 starting caterpillars are special in that they can be dismissed for 3 fame instead of 5. So I could spend this market turn spending all of my fame to dismiss both of my caterpillars. Once you've finished taking your 1 or 2 actions, any excess fame that you have not spent is lost. If you've left any gaps in the market, you now refill them, drawing from the deck and rearranging the market as usual so that they are in ascending rank order. Play now passes to the next player clockwise. Once each player has had 1 turn in the market phase, proceed to clean up. In the 2-player game, and only the 2-player game, discard the highest and lowest ranked cards from the market to a general discard pile, and refill. This prevents the market from getting stale at lower player counts when there's less market activity. All players now gather up the cards from their grids and from their deck, but not from their dismissed pile, and shuffle them back together to reset their decks. Hand the first player marker 1 step clockwise and proceed to the next round. So, what changes once we get on to later rounds? During the flip phase, if you've thinned out your deck through dismissals, then you may end up finishing your grid short of 3x2, in which case you stop drawing as soon as your deck is empty. But more likely, you'll have more than 6 cards in your deck, and so you'll stop as soon as the 6th slot is filled and any immediate effect on that card has been resolved. Immediate effects come in 2 main types, flips and stacks, and how they interact with your grid may vary depending on the order in which they're drawn, which is why you must draw left to right, top to bottom, and resolve each immediate effect in full before drawing the next card. If an effect says to flip a card, in this case it's the previous placed card, then you flip that target card over so that it's face down. In most cases this is bad. It means that card will not apply its fame to your fame count for this round. Abilities on the card no longer apply, and you cannot dismiss the card as one of your market actions, since only face-up cards can be dismissed. In addition to not applying their own fame, they also don't apply to other cards' fame. This dragonfly does not consider it a card for the purposes of its effect. An effect might flip a card as soon as it is placed, in which case any immediate effects that might have been resolved on it are instead ignored. If instructed to flip a card which cannot be flipped, simply ignore the effect, while in this case, having played the eagle into the final slot of the grid, it will have no effect because there is no next card to be placed, since my grid is already complete. The other main immediate effect is stacking, and a card might advise you to stack it on another card, or to stack another card on top of it. Stacked cards occupy the same slot as each other, making it possible to draw more than 6 cards into a 6-slot grid. All of the fame and abilities on the face-up stacked cards are considered active, both for their own effects and for other cards. That means this dragonfly gets to count all 5 of these cards towards its ability, although scores only 4 fame since the rabbits are non-unique. Do note, stacking is not an instruction to draw another card. In this case, by the ostrich having filled the 6th slot, there is no next revealed card to be stacked on top of it. Having now seen some of the key abilities that occur during the flip phase, we then come to the check fame phase, and this is where most of the card's special abilities apply, since the upgraded cards either give you more fame or give you bonus fame based on certain other layouts. You might gain bonus fame based on placement within your grid, here for being in the middle column. Bonus fame could be contingent on what other players have, camel and dog, for example, you would look at each other player's grid as well as the 5 cards in the market to determine whether the bonus fame applies. Card effects may trigger off the ranks of cards in your grid, or even based on your dismissed cards, which is why we keep them face up after dismissing. But always remember that flipped cards have no impact on your fame. Additionally, checking fame is where your starting skunk cards ability may come into effect. If you are the player with the single lowest fame among anyone this round, then the skunk's ability lets you dismiss 1 face-up card from your grid for free, even itself. This bonus dismissal is not considered one of your market actions. You can do this dismissal and still take 2 more actions this round. I won't go through the specifics of any other of the Toon card abilities other than to say that all effects are mandatory and must be resolved as completely as possible when they are drawn. However, if an effect cannot be resolved fully as written, then resolve only as much as you can. The game end is triggered during the check fame phase, in which 1 or more players scores 30 or more fame. In that round, give the player who generated the most fame the Critic's Choice card, or return it to the box if there was a tie. Then resolve the market and clean up steps for this round in full as usual. Now proceed to the decisive final flip. All players do 1 more flip phase and determine their final fame, with the player with the Critic's Choice card gaining a bonus 3 fame. The player with the highest fame wins, and if tied, any tied players reset their deck, do another final flip, and continue checking in that way until the tie is broken. If you feel like you want a little bit more control over the luck of the game, then you can get the Big Button mini expansion. In setup, in addition to the standard components, give each player 1 big button set to the reset side. The big button is a once per game chance to mitigate the bad luck of a terrible card draw. After everyone has calculated their fame during the check fame phase, each player in turn order has the opportunity to declare that they'll be pressing their button this round. Any players who declare that they're pressing the button then flip it simultaneously, reset their decks, and repeat their flip phases. All players now repeat the check fame phase, including those who didn't press the button, since cards like camels or dogs may have changed the situation for everyone. There'll be another round of checks to see if anyone wants to press their buttons, and only once you get a full round with no one pressing do you move on, first to the skunks effect and then to the market phase. You'll add the axolotls to the market deck in setup. When you hire the axolotl, this is the only way to flip your button back to its available side. And you can use your button in the end game final flip if you still have it available.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, maybe you'd like to watch this next one. Have a great day. Bye.